Welcome to the Edge Designations CAIA Level 1 2023 introductory video. In this particular video, our purpose is twofold. Number one, to give you a little bit of a look in to see what CAIA as an organization is going to do for you in terms of the Level 1 exam. And secondly, what Edge Designations as a prep provider can offer you to assist you, to help you to pass CAIA Level 1 for 2023. Without much further ado, let me just introduce myself. My name is Russell Jude. Yep, I am a CAIA charter holder. I have a few others as well, but those of course are not relevant specifically to the CAIA designation. CFA, FRM, an accountant as well. Okay, and I will be your lead instructor for the CAIA Level 1 2023 program. Let's hop in straight away, and first and foremost, as mentioned, our purpose here is twofold. Number one is to look at an introduction in terms of the CAIA program itself, what you can expect from the CAIA program itself, and secondly, what you can expect from Edge Designations as a registered prep provider with CAIA that will assist you in passing your 2023 exams. Okay, and just quickly before we get into it, we'll just start a little bit into the presentation already. Okay, there are two exam windows when candidates can write their exams. First exam window, okay, is the March exam. Okay, and obviously that's the only one that we have dates for thus far. And if you have a look over here, the dates for the March exam window will be the 6th of March till the 17th of March. We'll talk a little bit more as we go through the presentation, why there's such a long time period that you can write your exam for. We'll talk about that as we go through. There's a second exam window, which obviously we don't yet have dates from CAIA for yet, and that'll be the September 2023 exam. We don't have exact dates for that yet, so we obviously can't give those to you yet. Those will be coming in the future. So in terms of exams for 2023, those wishing to write CAIA Level 1, you've got two options. You can write March or you can write in September. Okay, which one do you choose? Well, first of all, let's go to the first point over here and let's have a look at the study time. Study time, approximately, they talk about 200 to 250 hours, okay, and that's obviously quite a large range. Keep in mind, and we'll see this as we go through the various Level 1 topics, a lot of it will depend, the time that you need to study for will depend on your level of experience. By way of example, there's quite a bit of quants involved over here, okay, particularly in topic 2, okay. For example, some guys might be coming through the CFA program, then topic number 1 is for free, because ethics for CAIA Level 1 is exactly the same ethics that you see for CFA Level 1, 2, and 3. So you've seen it all before. That's a bit of a freebie. Okay, so in terms of the study time, that's going to depend on your level of experience, your level of knowledge, what undergraduate you've done, have you done an undergraduate, etc., etc. That will be the time that you need to spend on this. Obviously, I'll take you through the various topics, okay, and you can then make a call for yourself in terms of what you believe the time that you need to study. Don't leave it too late. A lot of guys leave the studying quite late. If we're looking now for the March exam, a lot of guys like to enjoy a nice December break, and they start studying quite heavily mid-Jan. I would not recommend that strategy. A lot of people underestimate CAIA, particularly, and this is not meant as a disrespect, of course, but particularly those coming from other designations, somehow think this one will be a little bit easier. CAIA is not easy. I can tell you that from the experience. A lot of guys come across from CFA, okay, and fail CAIA the first time. CAIA works a little bit differently to how the other designations work in terms of how they examine. Slightly different approach in a sense. We'll talk about that as well, but definitely not easy. Okay, don't take this one for granted. Okay, so there's your study time. In terms of the exam, let's just talk about that very briefly. The exam itself, in terms of actual writing time, is 4 hours in total. Okay, you write exam number 1. Exam number 1 is for 2 hours. Exam number 2 is 2 hours, and in both exams you need to cover 100 multiple choice questions. Now, the maths of that is fairly easy. Look over here. You've got 120 minutes, and I'm talking about exam number 1, which of course will be exactly the same thing as for exam number 2. 120 minutes to answer 100 multiple choice questions. The maths is easy. Thereafter, it becomes difficult. The maths is easy. We can see that's 72 seconds a question. Thereafter, it becomes difficult because that is quick to answer a question. Some questions you're going to find in your exam, okay, do move a little bit quicker, okay, as with any of the other designations as well. They're quick one-word answers, etc. Some are more calculation-based, a little bit more complicated, more difficult. Those take a bit longer. But just keep in mind, we very, very seldom have guys coming out of this exam saying, oh, I finished that exam in about 45 minutes or an hour, hour and a half. I had time to check my paper, have a cup of coffee, etc. None of that. Okay. Exam number 2 is a carbon copy of exam number 1. Okay. Same story, 120 minutes. Okay. 100 multiple choice questions. Okay. 72 seconds a question. Carbon copy. And you find overall for your entire CAIA level 1 experience, you need to get through 200 multiple choice questions in a total time period of 4 hours altogether. Okay, quick, very quick. Okay, that is your a brief look at your CAIA level 1 exam. As we go through the program, guys, I'm not going to spend too much time giving you exam technique, what goes on in the exam. Should you write the exam at an exam center? Should you write the exam online at home, which is called online proctoring? We're not going to discuss any of that right now. It's not the purpose of this particular video. We do cover all of that as we get closer to exam time, okay, which we handle via our revision exam videos. So we'll do all of that in a separate video, not the introduction. Okay, so that's your basic exam, guys. It's a total of writing for 4 hours. Yes, you do get a 30-minute break in between, okay, but it's tough and it's demanding. Okay, and I think the more I stress this throughout this video, because a lot of guys are saying, well, perhaps we haven't stressed in the past that CAIA is actually difficult, okay, demanding, time pressured. It's all of the above. Okay, it's just like the other designations, and perhaps we need to start to just bring that to the fore a little bit, just to highlight just exactly what this exam is all about. Okay, carrying on. As to what you can expect in CAIA level 1, we've got 6 topics altogether. Topic number 1 is your big one, well, one of your big ones, which is ethics, professional standards and ethics. As you see over here, it carries with it a 15 to 25% weighting, which is fairly large. People battle with ethics. Okay, and I could sit here and read you my emails, my WhatsApps from the guys that have written the exam. Of course, they can't tell me what was in the exam, that's without doubt, but they do express a little bit of frustration and difficulty with ethics, as I warned them that they would. Ethics is one of the easiest sections to study because it's fairly gentle reading, but the actual answering questions is very vague. And that's how ethics is. Ethics is not going to be, are you allowed to have a bottle of whiskey and then go and give investment advice? Of course not. Can you have one beer? Okay, and it starts to get a little bit vague as we start to go through some of the ethical standards. Each case is, well, it's not exactly a direct relationship, because if the person was a direct relationship, yes, that would be, you couldn't trade for them, but, well, it's a brother-in-law's sister, and we start to get a bit vague. So ethics, we're going to find, guys, easy to study, but not so easy to answer questions. We'll go through that. Topic 2, I'm still fighting with CAIA on this one, and I'm hoping we're going to get a change made, at least if we could just change the topic heading, because it's Introduction to Alternatives. It is no introduction, because you can't have an introduction that's got an exam weight of 20 to 28%, the most amount of exam weight in the whole paper. It's not an introduction by any means. All it means when they say intro to alternatives is it gives you all the basics that you need to move into alternatives, things like statistics, quants, financial economics, derivatives, all this good stuff. And these topics are big topics. Okay, some of the derivatives is CFA level 2 derivatives. Some of the quants is also bordering on CFA level 2 quants. So this particular topic, topic 2, it's got 8 specific readings in it. It's the biggest one of all, 20 to 28%. It's a big one. This is the one where the guys struggle, and it needs a lot of work. Don't leave this one too late. Put your hard work in, particularly if you are not familiar with quants, statistics, interest rates, fixed income, derivatives, all these good concepts, even a bit of equities in there. This is where you're going to need to put a lot of focus in, because once you get this right over here in topic 2, that'll lead you into the remaining topics, which will make it that much easier going forward. Okay. Thereafter, we move into the asset classes. Okay. In other words, the chartered alternative, okay, the alternative asset classes, which are, we break them down into 4: real assets, private equity, okay, hedge funds, and structured products. And you can see the weightings are fairly similar, at least for real assets and hedge funds, 11 to 17%. Private equity's got the highest weighting of 12 to 20, and structured products 10 to 14. All of these topics from topic 3 to topic 6 are very specific to the actual asset classes within alternative investments. Okay, and what you find is that what you saw in topic 2, the introduction to alts, will be repeated to some extent in the remaining 4 topics, topics 3 through till 6. Okay. In terms of difficulty, structured products does feature prominently in terms of difficulty. Okay. It does go into CDOs, all the kind of, as the topic says, structured products. We deal with the more interesting stuff over there, the structured type stuff, a little bit more complicated over there, but generally some lovely stuff coming up in terms of these 4 topics. There we go. But again, we will talk about those much more in detail as we go through. Calculator policy, Texas Instruments BA2 Plus or the BA2 Plus Professional. And those that have done this before may be shouting, hey, why am I not mentioning the HP 12C? Yes, the HP 12C is also an allowed calculator. I don't mention it here, and why not? But I don't recommend that you use it. If you have been using the Hewlett-Packard 12C and you are familiar with it and you love it and you're able to use it, go right ahead. If not, and you're looking for a new calculator to start with, please go with the Texas. Reason for that is it's a slightly easier one to use, and it is much more supported by the various prep providers. Not many prep providers are going to teach you how to use the HP 12C. So as I say, if you haven't yet bought one, don't. Go and buy Texas. Okay. In terms of the textbooks and chapters, here we go. Professional Standards and Ethics, which relates to the very first topic. That's straight out of the CFA handbook. Okay, Standards of Professional Conduct. Standards, and remember, of course, guys, we only go up to standard 6. The CFA textbook will take you up to standard 7. We at CAIA don't do standard 7 because that relates specifically to CFA, the CFA program, and the CFA exams. The balance of the material from topic 2 all the way through till topic 6, okay, is handled via the Wiley textbook. The Wiley textbook is electronic and fantastic now. CAIA, as they normally do, they are very innovative. Okay, they are quick thinking, fast thinking, and what they've now done is they have included the Wiley textbook electronically as part of your package. So you get that as part of, beforehand a lot of people say, well, should you buy the textbook? Shouldn't you buy the textbook? Well, now it's part of your package. I think it's a wonderful addition, and there we go. A lot of students are going to ask, well, you got this now we got this textbook, and we got it for free. Well, you didn't get it for free, okay? It's part of the package, okay? But should you use the Wiley textbook, or should you use the notes, videos, etc. that we at Edge are going to provide? And what I always tell students is that the Wiley textbook is a fantastic resource. It's a fantastic book. It's a well-written book. It's a lovely book, okay? But the only challenge with that is you have to go through that book. okay, which is slightly time consuming, etc. And that's where we as a prep provider step in. We give you notes, videos, make it a little bit easier for the professional that obviously whose time is at a premium, okay, and we try and make it a little bit easier, condense the time, condense the material a little bit for you. And students say, well, can we pass with the EDGE material, notes and videos? 100% sure you can. And the way that I know that is because we've got tons and tons of students that have passed, and they often phone me the day before. They've seen this thing, the Wiley textbook. Where do you get this textbook from? I say, well, don't worry now. It's only a day or two till you write your exam. You'll be fine. And most students, unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because I think the Wiley textbook is a great resource, don't make use of it, and yet the truth is they are able to pass. Okay. Over our page over here, okay, you do get some other lovely resources as well from CAIA. Okay, you get there's your CFA textbook. You now get the Wiley textbook free, not free, but as part of the package, and then you get the handbook, the workbook, and the study guide. You don't need those, guys. Okay, the reason you don't need those, that they're very good resources. They're free, they're downloadable off the website. You don't need those because I'm going to provide all of that. If you are using EDGE as a prep provider, I give you all of that and I take you through that. And in terms of, so let's say, for example, the study guide. As part of our notes and videos, I go through each and every single learning objective, which is, of course, what the study guide does as well. Okay, so we give you all of that as well. Okay, but yes, they are good resources. The workbook, there's some nice questions in there as well. We give you those. The handbook tells you what's going to happen on exam day. We tell you that as well. But having said that, guys, these 3 free resources from CAIA are fantastic resources, freely downloadable, and just give you a bit more information. So definitely worth a look. Okay, we start off over here, and now what I want to do is, now that we've told you a lot about CAIA themselves, what I want to do now is I want to just have a quick look and talk a little bit about EDGE and what EDGE can do for you, okay, as a prep provider, okay, and just give you a bit of a sense of what we offer, what we bring to the table, and how we can help you for the 2023 exam. Okay, in terms of EDGE, first of all, we are a preferred prep provider to the CAIA Institute, okay. And why do we call ourselves EDGE designations? Because that's what we do. We do designations. Okay. The designations that we do, we start off doing CFA first, then FRM, and then CAIA, no specific order, of course. Okay. But we do all 3, and we find that by doing all 3, we are able to take you across, give you a nice wealth of information regarding all the various designations. You know, I often get students calling me, which one should they do? We're able to give you good sound advice because we do them all. I'm not conflicted by any of them. I love them all, okay, and I can give you good advice on all of them. And there's a lot of crossover between them. So I believe that a prep provider doing 2 or 3 designations is in a better position to give you a bit of a crossover, to show you how things work between designations, and to use that experience between them to be able to assist you a little bit better. Okay. In terms of EDGE designations, we work with the 4 C's. What are the 4 C's? That's our approach to work. I'm not going to take too much more of your time in this video. First C is consistency. Guys, when you're working, okay, your key is consistency. It's everyday work. Every single day work. Okay. If you're having a terrible, horrible, revolting day, okay, do 5 minutes. And why do we say do 5 minutes? You keep that consistency up, that when you come back tomorrow, when you're having a wonderful, beautiful, fantastic day, you carry on from where you left off yesterday. Whereas if you didn't do a little bit on the horrible, terrible day, the next day you don't open a book again and you start to fall a bit behind. Consistency is the key to your success. It's not about doing 10 hours every day in the last 2 weeks, guys. It's about doing an hour and a half every single day, and a little bit more on the weekends than that hour. Okay. The next C, okay, I always battle with the spelling. I wish I had my spell check. I think this is how you spell commitment. But the truth is that you guys are fully committed to the program. Those that are in the program generally are fully committed. But again, it does require quite a strong level of commitment. You want this. This is where you're going. A lot of guys phone me and say, well, they're not sure, should they try CFA or should they try CAIA? I said, you shouldn't try either. You should decide which one you want, commit to it, and go for it. Then you'll get it. Okay. The next C, the third C, is not really the right one. Okay. We call it concentration. Concentration is not the right one. I would have liked focus. Focus, or what Steve Jobs often refers to as like deep learning, really getting into it. You know, I would tell candidates I would far rather that you spent a half an hour really focused deep into the material, okay, as opposed to telling me, oh, I spent 3 hours and, well, I just sat there for 3 hours and I'm not really sure exactly how much I did, or rather concentrated, focused learning is going to do so much better for you than just trying to accumulate time, which is okay. And the last one, remember, it's just CAIA. Keep calm, keep focused, keep your health about you, both mental, both physical, keep your relationships intact. Often you find at the end of these designations, people forget that they ever had a husband, a wife, a spouse, a girlfriend, a boyfriend, a friend, a cousin. Everything's still important. It's just CAIA. Keep calm, and when things get a bit much, you take a nice deep breath, and remember, keep calm. It's just CAIA. Now, CAIA is important. We want to get it. That's why we're here. But it cannot come at the expense of health, wealth, and happiness. Maybe a bit of wealth, but not health and happiness. No. Okay. Keep calm. Okay. And that's the 4 C's that we at Edge Designations work with to try and give a bit of a balanced approach to the studying. Okay. Let's talk a little bit more in terms of equations. A lot of people say, well, there's a lot of equations in this exam. Yes, those equations need to be learnt. Okay, there's a very few, 3 or 4 of memory serves that are provided to you in the exam. The rest have to be learnt. Okay. If we have a look over here, okay, your MCQs may either be 3 or 4 answers. In other words, A, B, C's as an answer, or a D in there as well. Okay, people often say, well, what's the pass mark for CAIA? CAIA tell you that if you get 70% on this exam, and it doesn't have to be in each exam. Remember, you've got a total of 200 MCQs. If you get 140 marks right, you've passed for sure, but CAIA say it may be lower. It might be a little bit lower. They're not going to tell you, as with any other CFA, FRA, no one's going to tell you what the pass mark is. Okay, and results used to be made available 3 weeks after. Now they're made available 5 weeks after the exam window closes. So if I just take you back a page, when did the exam window close? The exam window closes on the 17th of March. 5 weeks later, you can expect your results. Why has it moved from 3 to 5? Well, the reason for that, guys, is because they now have online proctoring. In other words, you can write your exam at home, which just tends to delay the process just a little bit more due to that optionality that they've given. But you've got 5 weeks to wait for your results. Okay. The last thing before we talk a little bit more about EDGE is people say, how much of the exam is calculation? Well, can I come out and say, let's break it down. You've got calculations and you've got, I'm not going to call it theory. It's not really theory, it's other. Max calculations, they say, is 30%. Maximum. So for those that are coming across from, for example, CFA, or those that love calculations, remember that's going to be a max of 30% calculation. In terms of the theory, well, that's the balance. Okay. So however much calculations are, but remember, it's not going to be a purely calculation-based paper. Don't get okay. And in terms of the theory, this is where people tend to underestimate CAIA a little bit. CAIA often ask what we call a little bit, I call it left side theory. Left side theory is because it comes out of the left side. In other words, if you've got a whole paragraph to study and there's one thing you think, nah, they're not going to ask that. Okay, that doesn't seem to be the focus of the paragraph. CAIA can ask it. Okay. They do tend to ask odds and ends stuff all over. You do need to know all your theory, and you need to know it very well. That typically tends to trip people up just a little bit. They underestimate the theory just a touch. Okay. And lastly, okay, I just want to talk about EDGE and our EDGE programs. Okay, let's have a look at what EDGE offers. Okay, so there's EDGE designations. Okay. And we've got predominantly 3 programs, but at this point, at the start of the cycle, we really differentiate based on two. I'll start with the second one first. The second one is what we call our online program. If you visit our website, let me just put that up here for you. Okay, www. We're trying to keep everything as consistent as possible. Edge designations.com. Okay, and over there, our second option is the online option. Okay, what do you get with the online option? Okay, you get a complete set of notes. Now, our notes are in PDF format, and we don't protect them overly. Okay, we always say that, well, once the candidates have studied the first section on ethics, they're unlikely to copy our notes and distribute them. But of course, we are relying to a large extent on the honesty of the students. But I don't want to put watermarks and other protection that you can't actually end up using the notes at all. So the notes are available in PDF format. The notes cover every single learning objective. Every single LO is covered from top to bottom. And yes, the notes are comprehensive. Can they get you through the exam? Yes, of course they can. On those notes, we have videos that relate to those notes. So the videos take you through the notes in their entirety. The videos are in YouTube format, so nice and easy to use. Okay, and they take you through the notes in their entirety. It's probably around about 60 hours odd of video, 60, 70 hours, something like that's a crazy amount of videos taking you through all of those notes. We, of course, have got an intuitive Q bank, okay, covering a significant amount of questions, okay. Everyone, the first question I always get asked, how many questions in your Q bank? And I say, well, there's a lot. You know, can you tell me exactly how many? Because we're just comparing you to perhaps another prep provider who may or may not have more. And I say, well, it's the wrong question to ask. Okay, a lot of prep providers advertise, well, we have 1,000, I don't know how many questions, and that's not the right question. That, in my mind, with respect, that's not the right question, okay? Because I'm a big believer in doing questions, as we mentioned, as one of our approaches, is to do questions in detail, properly, understand the answers, take the time, do proper feedback of those answers in the MCQs. It doesn't help to say, well, I've done 2,000 MCQs. Sure. First of all, most candidates are not going to get through 2,000 MCQs. Those that do, well done to them. And I'm a big believer, if you could do 2,000 MCQs properly with detailed feedback, well, then you're in a great position. Okay, most can't due to time, but those that you do properly, do in detail, etc. Because remember, there's only, first of all, there's only a certain amount of MCQs that we can ask you on the syllabus to cover the syllabus, and then to quite confidently say, well, we've covered what's in the syllabus. Thereafter, we could just start to manufacture crazy MCQs or just regurgitate them with a little bit of a difference here and there. I'm not sure how much value that adds. So my big belief in MCQs is, yes, get a big bank, okay, but do that bank properly with detailed feedback, etc. It doesn't have to be the one candidate mentioned to me that they did 5,000 questions. I said, I don't know where you found 5,000 questions, but they failed, by the way. Okay, so I'm a big believer Q banks must be big, but it's upon the students to do them really detailed and properly and get the proper feedback on those. Okay, after all of that, so our online program gives you a complete set of notes, a complete set of videos, a Q bank, a formula sheet. Okay, that's basically what is in that program. It's detailed. Can you pass the exam on that? Yes, you can. No problem at all. That's the online program, option number 2 on our website. Moving across, I'll just change color so you can see it a little easier. We call this one the Zoom option. I know a lot of providers call it gold and platinum and diamond and silver. I like to just call it what it is. It's the Zoom program. Now, the Zoom program is exactly the same as the online. That's why I started with the online program. And the Zoom program is everything like that, but with live classes. Okay, so you get everything that you got from the online. You get notes, you get videos, you get a Q bank, you get a formula sheet, but you also get live classes as well. We have, I think, 6 to 8 classes altogether, and we meet once every couple of weeks for about 1.5 to 2 hours, a live class. The Zoom classes, you can ask anything you like in those classes. The classes, I always say, the Zoom classes belong to the students. You can ask whatever you like. We go through some of the more difficult material together with you. We do some exam questions together with you, show you how to answer them, etc. It's a wonderful online live experience. Okay, then I move across over here, number 3, okay, which is our revision and exam program. And revision exam program comes towards the end of the program, okay, as we get to probably Feb, March, or August and September for those writing then. And then what we do for you is we give you a complete set of notes. Well, these notes are what we call our revision notes, so they're not as comprehensive as the complete set of notes. We do videos with you on those as well. Okay, it's about 16 to 20 hours worth of revision video, taking you through the entire syllabus. And then we give you 3 full exams as practice. Okay, and that's the revision exam program, which we show you a little bit closer on as we get close to the exam time, that we make that one available to you. Those are various options. Of course, with all of these options, of course, you've got access to me as well. Okay, yeah, those that purchase the program can ask their questions. They can email them in. We often form WhatsApp groups as well, which helps the candidates as well. That's us as Edge, and those are our offerings. On that note, I will be recording a separate video, okay, which will take us through, okay, a good look at the 2023 syllabus in more detail. It's a separate video, as well as what you could expect changes for those that perhaps wrote in 2022 to 2023. I will cover that as a complete separate video, going through all of the detail on that. That will be coming up soon.